I'm Brandi Dequin.
And I'm Dave Preston with a real nasty. Oh,
Wait, why is it that looks delicious, but the only nasty part might be all the calories
look at
in it.
It is angel food cake, though. Now let's be honest.
Yeah, it's an angel food cake, so that's pretty light.
Right.
But it's the sour cream brandied pear that kind of makes it a little more exciting, shall we say? But
yeah.
But it's all I'm saying is. Everything in moderation, nothing in excess.
Sure.
That might be your whole calorie intake for the day, but it looks delicious.
It's got beautiful fresh fruit. We'll talk about that. Absolutely.
So, yeah,
we're feeling a little guilty because we have the cardiologist here today.
Yeah, we have a cardiologist here
today.
So
everything we eat or talk about, normally we're like, shh, we never do that.
And and I cook it, but I don't eat it. So,
So, sir, do you get that reaction a lot where everyone starts acting better around you than they normally would?
I get a lot of people covering their food when I walk in.
Oh, they cover he says he gets people covering their food when he walks in. So we should hide this from you.
No,
but he actually said it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
He's a human.
Yeah,
he's sweet.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with that, like you said. Everything in moderation.
The Ben Franklin rule. That's all you got to remember.
Ben Franklin rule. So after our weird news, Dave is we're all gonna taste test this.
Looks good.
And then Fitness Brian is here with a cardiologist for some great insight on all that kind of stuff. Me and Natalie are going to be interviewing some kids and some talent.
Yes, we have some talent sent over from the 20 Study casting, pardon me, and so she is going, hopefully we will get to that at the end of the show. And you're going to have to give some tips on angel food cake, because it can be, it's a tough one sometimes.
It is. It's easy to prepare, but the biggest thing again is paying attention when you have the oven going. And I always, for some reason, I always make more than even a standard recipe.
You mean the batter?
Yeah, the batter always, and I guess it's just because I whisk it to death. So.
Well, I think our viewers would be really interested in angel food cake because it is lower in fat.
It is.
And it's
it's egg whites.
Right.
It's just the egg whites.
And it tastes angelic.
Boom.
All right.
Good morning.
Vlog
TV is on again. Hello, Vlog TV. Gary, Mel, Jeannie, Will, Jim, Christine, BLZ, and LTV fan. Everybody else, I know you're out there chatting and say hello.
Yes, come on. That's the great thing about this. You can talk to us. Where else in the world can you talk back to your television and they'll listen and they'll talk back to you?
From Reno.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So new.
I know.
All right, so this is the time of the morning when we like to do our news. Different stuff from around the world and around our state and stuff like that. Did you guys know it is a... What? What did he say?
I don't know who's talking. It might be somebody playing.
Yes, we're having harassment from the audience.
All right, now, it's really, it's the truth. Now, they're saying that it is universally acknowledged that Facebook can make you miserable. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, no.
I'd like to learn this,
problem.
I don't know.
Teenagers, that's a real
Is it because you're shut off from the outside world?
There's a couple things. So the unexpected racist comment from a high school friend, utterly unwanted photos of your ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend.
Oh, I delete every ex, everybody I date, I delete them just so I can...
The official word on Facebook misery and its causes is that the worst offender is vacation photos. The study, conducted jointly by 2 German universities, found that the second most anxiety-producing Facebook subject was social interaction. So, like, how many birthday greetings you got compared to how many I got, la 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 la.
Oh, like jealousy.
Right.
Yeah, it's all jealous. Okay.
So what they're saying is that, that it makes you, when you have to look at what, and I have to be honest, especially with the vacation photos, it's true. When I see someone was in the Bahamas for 2 weeks, I'm like,
okay, that was me.
Screw you.
All right, that was me for like a week, but yeah.
Well, you know what I mean, though. You're like, why can't, you're miserable in your home, and it's 13 degrees outside, and so it's just, so what do you guys think? Is Facebook making us miserable?
You know what, Jane, BLZ, and Ian all hate Facebook. Some people live their lives by it, says Paul and Y. As long as you're not addicted to it and use it excessively. I mean, I look at the honeymoon photos and I'm like, oh my God, I want to go to Fiji. That looks so great. Right.
The thing is that what is so amazing is now look, Facebook, which is not even 10 years old, is now being studied by universities abroad for the sociological aspects. I mean, you talk about a phenomenon, and I laugh because I'll look at it from the financial. It was the IPO and it all went to hell in a handbasket and it's worth nothing now. I'm telling you that one day I predict, you heard it here first, folks, in real estate, that Facebook will have a greater financial value than Google.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Google is
Why?
Why?
Do you have a reason?
There is a reason, because Facebook is solely dependent on one person and another. And if you realize that they have over 1 billion users, and you start looking at how many people are in the world, the exponential growth is astronomical.
Yeah. Don't you think my only thing is, people get bored with it after a while?
Well,
so I don't know.
See, I'll tell you, that's what I've learned. I can't go on every day. I would go start.
I'm on every day.
I go on 2 or 3 times a week, but I put information on there that is relevant. I don't use the chat.
what I ate for dinner. One of the things I've noticed though, one of my biggest pet peeves is people share too much on there.
But that's their people. I don't know what Stuart's dancing about over there because I can't read sign language. But I agree with Carmen. Carmen said, I am friends with my relatives and people I never would be otherwise, and I'm all for Facebook. And I agree. I mean, the people I keep in contact with now, I would never.
High school or that live far away. I agree.
Let me tell you an interesting. At another life, about 15 years ago, I was in the Bay Area working in high tech, and we could not understand how to create what's called a protocol. We had this system where you could have one application and you could have 250,000 people using it at the same time. But how do you control 250,000? How do you all talk at once? What Facebook has done is it has created a protocol that allows 1 billion people to interact simultaneously, but it's controlled.
Guess what? Networking. Speaking of networking, LoadedTV.com is on Facebook, and so are we.
So it's crazy.
So Carmen and everybody else out there like us.
But you know what, guys? You have to keep Facebook in perspective. You got to count your blessings. Do not let it make you feel miserable. And I see you're right. If you see pictures and it's your old flame and it makes you just your heart, take it off.
I do. Every ex I date, I delete. I don't want to be jealous. I don't want to be upset.
No, I agree.
I have friends that are addicted to it.
I know.
I have some friends that sleep with their phone by their head and get every single news feed
I can't do that.
And that is absolutely ridiculous. She's going to get
Sometimes I just want to throw my phone out the window.
She's about to get carpal tunnel.
Moving on.
More news.
Wow. Like us on Facebook. Speaking of it.
Don't let it make you miserable.
LoadedTV.com, and we all have our own. So find us, and that'll be, there you go.
Yes.
All right. You want to hear about a stripper? A stripper, a lady with the largest hips, or a guy into bestiality?
I want to hear about the hips.
Okay. Because I got the good ones. All right.
I'm trying to weed through them.
I have pictures of all these. So the lady sets a world record for the largest hips.
Wow.
So, do you like big butts and it cannot lie? Her hips certainly do not lie. Yes, there's a picture. Okay, so a 39-year-old...
Kind of bad.
No, she's proud of it. Okay. A 39-year-old, 420-pound woman with an 8-foot circumference sets a new world record for world's largest hips. She's a mother of 4 in LA, California. She stands 5'4" and has a 40-inch waist.
Yes.
And that's only her waist. It's completely, I don't know, it's not with her shape. So she says, I see no reason to diet because I don't have any health problems.
There's no question. That's Miss Cellulite 2013.
Oh my.
It looks like she's almost misshapen though. That would be hard to walk.
So she said there's a little bit about that. She said men don't fancy girls, skinny girls. They like girls with an hourglass figure.
But that's not hourglass.
She said
that's a grandfather clock.
Oh my goodness, you guys.
It's like a cello.
So this is America, people. So
I'm sorry.
You guys all out there.
You know what that's
But you guys say you feel sorry for her, but when I finish, she's proud of this. Okay, so her husband married, they've been married for 10 years. She said she's a sweet disposition. And I like to tell people all the time I have a license to work with heavy equipment. Wow. She has, get this, 100-inch wide hips.
Wow.
But she said it does make everyday tasks difficult.
But get into a car?
She has to drive a truck.
Get 2 seats.
She has to use reinforced chairs at home. She also struggles with fitting in through door entrances and sleeps on a 7-foot wide bed. She said the weight gain first started when she was 22 years old with her first child. And she said, I put it down to pregnancies, and I don't see why else the weight would go just to my hips. Although I do eat a lot. Guess how many calories she eats a day?
4,000.
Yeah, 3,000. She goes, loss includes nearly 3,000 calories a day. In the past, I was self-conscious about my hips. As I got older, I learned to love my body, and now I'm not afraid to show it off.
I think that's a healthy thing to be good, you know, be okay with yourself, because I think there's far too much of hate for your body, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So she
can't walk.
She doesn't have any health problems, so that's good.
Today.
Right. Those knees are going to go.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she should not be intaking 3,000 calories a day.
That is
first
a lot.
But that's, I mean, what are you going to do? You feed a big body, you know, you're talking to, you know.
Now, yeah, I see what you're saying.
You have to feed a big body.
But she said, I enjoy eating and I'll eat whatever, whenever. Like, in moderation, like you said, Dave.
Well, but the point is, they don't.
Yeah.
Right.
So
healthy food can also be yummy.
Yes.
Like, I've been doing chicken and veggies in crock pots, and
there you are.
it's yummy, it really is.
You're a mere shadow of yourself.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So do you know, I just had to put this story in because I just love Matisse. Do you know who Matisse is?
He's a painter, he's an artist. Yeah.
Okay. So these two people were sentenced on Tuesday for their roles in the attempted sale of a stolen Henri Matisse painting in Miami Beach. They were sentenced to 33 months in prison. She received, the woman, there was a woman and a man, and they were trying to sell this painting that was stolen, I don't know if we have a picture of it, from the Caracas Museum of Contemporary Art in Venezuela around in December of 2002. That's how long. People steal this art, you guys.
I mean, but that's...
And then they try to sell it like 10 years later.
Well, oh no, but...
Well, they didn't do it.
But there is, you know, a very famous movie was made, it's called To Catch a Thief, which became a television series.
Right.
But that was all based on the underground illegal art trade
Yeah.
that is
I think it's really crummy. I mean, I know that they want it and stuff. Do you know Matisse?
No, but speaking of crummy,
it's a beautiful. If you don't know Matisse, he's like a master of light. I love him. All right, so yeah, they got in trouble. I wanted to show you the picture.
Well, they should get in trouble. They are thieves.
Yes.
Well, these are
crummy. I'm like,
art that everyone should get to see, not just one person.
Yeah, that really sucks.
Okay.
All right, should I do a stripper story or a bestiality story, or should we save those for later?
I think a stripper story is in order.
We'll go with the stripper.
All right, there's a picture of this. Well, we have a minute, so I don't think I should do it.
Well, then don't.
I'll save it for tomorrow. I'm going to give you guys a cliffhanger. I have the greatest stripper story and the greatest bestiality story. Oh, my God.
They don't have the same, they're not with the same person.
No. Well, you know what? He could charge for that. So, what do you guys think of Facebook? If you have any questions... Oh, see, look at the sad donkey with bestiality.
I want to go there. I want to go there.
It does have to...
You didn't put up my Matisse painting, but you put up the donkey.
So, if you guys want to tune in tomorrow, of course you do, duh, you're going to find out about this bestiality and stripper story.
All right.
But,
so, I think we're going to take a quick... Are we going to do the cake?
We're going to take a break, and then we'll do the
news,
cake.
we're going to taste this yummy, yummy
We're going to take a really super quick break. We'll be right back, and then we are going to be eating pear spice.
We're going to have our cake and eat it, too. We're going to have a sour cream brandy pear tart. It's not really a cake because it's got a stuffing.
All right. Tort's coming up. We'll be right back. You're watching The Wake Up Call.
Here we are. There it is. That is a brandy.
That was so good.
I'm talking away.
Tell me about that cake.
What that happens to be
cake?
is a brandy pear sour cream tart, and it's done in between an angel food cake. And the reason I did it isn't because I was thinking of cooking it. It was because I had a friend that had a birthday and she wanted an angel food cake. So when I make an angel food cake is really, you know, Natalie was saying earlier in the show, it's not terribly high in calories. And you can use a sugar substitute. The one thing, of course, yeah, you can use a substitute. Very definitely. Splenda right now is you can actually on any Splenda box you can find a conversion.
It'll tell you there.
And there's a conversion, and if you really need it, but when I do this, I tend not to add sugar because, like what I did with this is I did like almost a quasi pineapple upside down cake, only it was right side up. But I glazed it with pineapple, so that was the sweet. But I didn't use any sugar. What is really fun to use for a little extra flavor is orange water. You know, you can buy orange water. And so she's going to stand here and take a quick... She's moving. But what this amounts to is the angel food cake, which an angel food cake is at least a dozen egg whites. And there's two things about it. Here's part of the secret of an angel food cake. The eggs have to be at room temperature. You should leave them out for at least an hour.
Okay.
And they have to be consistent in size.
Okay. Do you use cream of tartar?
Use a cream of tartar. Use about a quarter of a teaspoon of cream of tartar.
You really need to have that. Right?
Yeah, it does, because what you're trying to do is you've got to get the egg whites as foamy and as frothy as can be to give it the lightness and to puff it up. So
now the pan.
Yes.
Now you've used
I used a bread pan.
So it doesn't necessarily need to be
a typical angel food cake, and you use a bundt pan for that.
Okay.
But like I had too much batter, so I just put it in a pan. I thought, well, I'll make something. Now here's the great thing: pears right now, the pears are fresh.
Yummy,
the Anjou pears are all from the Northwest. They're here, but you can get Bartlett's from Argentina. And I tasted it. Oh yeah, and I'm in the store and I know the produce guy.
Yummy with oranges.
And I wanted to taste it, so I went ahead and he gave me a couple of things, a couple of pears to taste. And so the Bartlett's were the sweetest, and they're from Argentina, and they're the ripest. So I use those.
And they're a good winter fruit.
Oh, they're a wonderful fruit, and pear is again is a lot of vitamins. Now, how do you make something like this? Well, one of the things about cooking with fresh fruit is you don't want to destroy the fruit. So what I've always done, and this is what I was taught by a pastry person, is a little bit of butter, a little bit of white wine, and you saute the fruit first.
I saw that sneaky.
Yeah, before you create the sauce. And so what I've done is I saute the pears with a little butter, a little white wine, and then I slowly add. You want to have a syrupy, so I tend to use Cairo syrup.
Okay.
And the clear, not the darkened, and I just a little bit until I get it to a boil, and then this is the hard part. You want it to let it to reduce, so that means you turn it down very low and you keep an eye on it. So what happens is you're getting the water out, and that's what
you're
thickens
getting the syrup.
Right.
Okay.
Now after that, this is a little bit of a labor intensive. You got to let it cool to room temperature, and I always put the fruit in the fridge overnight before I put the sour cream.
So what I'm hearing is you have to have a lot of patience.
Well, I mean, it takes time. I mean, but it's...
Yeah, you can do other things. You don't have to sit with it the entire time.
No, you don't have to watch it.
I have no patience.
So then what I did this morning is with about a tablespoon of vanilla and about a half a cup of sour cream. I beat that all together, and then I folded the pears in. And then to give it a little more moisture, because the cake is a big cake, I put just a little bit of like a cream whip, just to add a little more body to it.
Right.
So now what I'll do is I'll cut it, and then I got pears across the top.
So while you're cutting it, Dave, I'm going to read you. Barry said he's made every single recipe on your page.
There you go.
Wow, look at
and
that.
they're all fantastic.
Is that that's not a piece?
No, but what I'm going to do is we're going to go over here again, Natalie, if you would be so kind, and let people see what it looks like on the inside.
Gene says you're so wonderful. Olive says he really appreciates your kind personality.
Well, that's I have fun.
So you guys, and Mel, to answer your question, just go to LoadedTV.com, and there's a drop box of all of our names.
All right, now and you.
Now, see, that's a good texture too. It's kind of a very fine.
I'm excited.
You cook it at 350 degrees, and I always, it says 20 to 30 minutes. I almost always, because first of all, we're at altitude.
Okay.
I will always undercook anything with egg whites in it, because what happens is if you start to overcook, they break down and it gets mushy. So I always.
Can I ask you a question about the sugar substitute? Now the only thing is, maybe you want to use those half and half, because won't it not brown if you don't have any sugar in it?
No, well, but again, you're not looking for a deep brown.
Right, that's a beautiful color.
But honestly, that was in the better part of 20 minutes.
I kind of like the sugar substitute that has half sugar and half sugar substitute.
Well, you can do
cutting calories, but you're still getting some of that chemical from sugar.
All right.
So Carmen says, Dave rocks.
Yeah, all right, now let me do this, and I'm going to do it this way.
Beautiful.
So you can see that. All right, and Miss Brandi.
Oh, that's so pretty. And then Bill wants Natalie and Dave to have a cook-off, which leaves me offended. What, you think I can't cook, Bill? You think I can't
talk about cooking.
All right, Miss Brandi, get a plate for yourself.
I got it.
And you can just...
Okay.
The hard part with this is I didn't bring the right utensil, but there you go. All right.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead and give it a try.
I love angel food cake.
Now,
yeah, angel food cake is really good.
And what happens is if you want it to really set, you can put it in the refrigerator and it'll settle a little more, but I didn't have enough time this morning.
You know what?
Pardon me.
With this pear,
oh, it's delicious.
I almost feel like you could serve this for breakfast. No, really, because it has that kind of
Good thing it's breakfast here.
Yep.
cinnamony.
So good.
And again, of course, I always put my favorite secret spice. I always put nutmeg in there. And just because
really
nutmeg brings out flavor. And the only cinnamon you have is just a little across the top here.
I think you should really put this recipe on because angel food cake is not the easiest cake to make.
No.
Oh, it's delicious.
But it's good.
But this is really, really good. And you know what I love is that it is not really super sweet.
Exactly.
Oh, did you watch The Taste last night?
No, I was at a dinner, a wine dinner.
So they got this new show.
I watched The Chew.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like that. That's like a talk show. This is like, you know what? It's like The Voice.
Oh, okay.
But like with cooking.
Okay.
So what they do is it's got Nigella and Anthony Bourdain.
Yep. Ooh, I like
this guy named Ludo, which I don't know, I think he's French. And then a guy named Marky or whatever. I don't know what. Those are their last names. But so this new show they have, what they do is you get one bite. That's how they taste. They don't get to see you.
I've seen the previews to that. And there's this one lady there's this one lady, right, and she has no training?
Yeah, it's home cooks against professional chefs. But one of the things that they were talking about is having restraint in your desserts. Like too much sugar, like when it's like cloying.
Well, I'm going to do a dinner on Sunday. I get involved in these charity dinners where people bid on myself and my partner to cook a dinner. And so one of the things that we planned the menu the other day is for dessert, because the pears are fresh, I'm going to have two pieces. I'm going to have a Bartlett and an Anjou. Then I'm going to have a hard cheese, and I'm going to have a triple cream cheese, and I'm going to serve it with a tawny port. And that's going to be the dessert.
Sounds yummy.
And then I have some wasabi, some Swedish crackers that are very light and very dry, and I'll use a sesame cracker to offset all the flavors and just a little bit of salt.
Yeah, balance of flavor, you guys, is huge when you're cooking. It's really, really important.
It's called the texture. Layers of flavor is part of the secret to anything you prepare. So that people taste something at the beginning of their mouth all the way through it. Because remember, there are seven zones. I'll use that word in your mouth that take in flavors. Everything starting with the very sweet to salty to tart to bitter, and that's part of what you want to do. You want to try and cover all the bases.
So we do have to get going.
Yep.
Everybody wants to see this up on your recipe
this
page.
is one to definitely give a try. Don't be afraid. I mean, maybe if it doesn't work out, try again. Angel food cake is a little bit hard, but this is a really good recipe.
And Carmen says, I'm sure that cake is delicious because Dave bakes and cooks with the main ingredient, love.
That's right.
All right.
All right, so coming up next is Brian. He has a special cardiologist.
Now we're going to feel bad about tea.
Don't feel bad, I want a bite.
It's really good.
So stay tuned and we'll be back in a couple minutes. It's so good. I want to finish that thing. I want to pick it up like a sandwich and just eat it.
I thought he was going to make that our piece. And I was like, I don't know.
Actually, I'm
All right,
I'm
we'll be right back.
And we are back on the Wake Up Call. Good morning. It is good to be back. I'm Brian Perry, and I'm here with a very special guest, Mr. R.M. Fleming, and we are very, very excited to be back on the Wake Up Call. It's been a while since myself and my wife Tracy have been here. She's actually out on location right now, so she will be back here next Wednesday at about 9:20 to help me with future fitness segments. But before we get going and we get into the subject, I want to make sure that you guys know that you can contact us by going to email brian@loadedtv.com, or you can Twitter us at Brian and Tracy to ask any questions about this segment or any future segments that we may have. One of the things that we want to accomplish when we do our fitness segments is to help people, regular people, figure out how to live a healthy lifestyle through nutrition, training, fitness. But we also want to have some fun with it and interview different people, experts in their field, athletes, whether they be amateurs and or professionals, things like that. So today is no different. Today we have a very, very special guest today. Our guest today is Dr. R.M. Fleming. He is a published author and a renowned cardiologist, and we welcome him to the show today. So thank you for being here today.
Brian, thank you for inviting me, and hopefully we can do some things during this segment that will help shed some light on things that people can do to improve their heart health.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we need to remember is that the heart is a muscle, and the heart is probably the most important organ that we have, is the most important organ that we have in our body. But a lot of times people don't really think about the damage that they're doing by a poor nutrition or lack of training and things like that. And so one of the things we want to talk about, after you kind of give us a kind of an overview, because you've done a lot of different things. You've been published. We got a couple of books up here. One is Stop the Inflammation Now. The other one right there is
How to Bypass Your Bypass, and want to give a shout out to all my friends in England and to the Queen, who received a copy of this many years ago.
Okay.
And
you've been on 2020. You've done a lot of different things. So maybe you can kind of give us a quick overview of your training, and then we'll get right into the meat of talking about heart health.
All right. Well, I'm a research scientist, originally trained in the 1960s with funding from the Kennedy administration. And I ended up going to the University of Northern Iowa, received several degrees in physics and biology, chemistry, and psychology, then went to the University of Iowa, where I trained also as a research scientist and worked with high blood pressure and heart disease. And from there I went to Creighton University for my residency and the University of Texas Health Science Center in Houston as a cardiology fellow, and have been doing research in the area of heart disease and diet and nutrition for a couple decades anyway.
So what that's telling you is that this guy knows what he's talking about. So when we bring him on today, that's the whole point, is to bring you guys some quality individuals who understand the value of what we're talking about when it comes to fitness. And so one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, and for everybody else out there, is can you name like maybe 2 or 3 different diseases that are a direct correlation to our poor nutrition or our lack of exercise or other things?
All right. Well, there's many diseases that are related to diet and poor nutrition and smoking and those types of problems that people are dealing with across the country and across the world. Heart disease, diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, certain types of cancers. The list goes on and on. All of it's related to an inflammatory process that the body's dealing with. All of it's related to dietary and lifestyle practices that people have. These diseases didn't exist 50 to 100 years ago.
Right.
There are lifestyle changes that are part of what we do.
Right. And so some of the symptoms for let's say clogged arteries. I'm going to try to keep it in layman's terms here. Clogged arteries. So give us some symptoms, some signs and symptoms that we may want to look out for as we start our training programs or as we try to adjust our diet.
Right. Well, the classic one is chest pain, a squeezing sensation, and radiating down the left arm. I think most people are aware of that. Shortness of breath, particularly when you're trying to do something. That's classic. Something that people don't tend to key in on but is very common is nausea. And in fact, that's more common in women, not because just simply because it's nausea, but it relates to the artery, the right coronary artery, that tends to be more of a problem in women. So those are very common issues. Sweating, discomfort in the chest, and that nausea, and shortness of breath, those are really the key symptoms. And if you're having that, those are the types of things to get in to see your doctor about sooner than later.
Okay. And that's good advice. In fact, we encourage anybody before you start any kind of exercise program or you try to modify some of the things that you're doing, if you're having any of those symptoms at all, definitely go consult with your doctor before you start any of these things, and that'll work out for you better, hopefully. And so these books, Stop Inflammation Now. Okay, so what if somebody went to Amazon and found this book, what are they going to find in here?
Well, that was actually the result of a number of years' worth of work where we were looking at diet and lifestyle and how it played a role in heart disease. Many people are aware that cholesterol plays a role in heart disease, but it dawned on me back in about 1995 that was not accounting for all the problems. In fact, half the people who had heart attacks had totally normal cholesterol levels. Okay. So it was clear that something else was going on. So through a lot of work, ours, other people we knew, other people in other countries, physicians, non-physicians, we discovered that there were at least 12 things that were risk factors that you could measure for heart disease. Cholesterol being one of those, fats or triglycerides being one, homocysteine, C-reactive protein. All of the types of things that you can get blood tests for that will give you an idea. But also in this book we tell you how you can change your diet, change your lifestyle to make the steps that you need to, because I realize that most people are not going to go out and start a marathon training, and I wouldn't advise people do. By the way, I've already done my workout this morning.
Ah, here we go.
You know,
here we go.
I know you haven't done yours yet, but you're going to do it.
I'm going to go right after this. Look at him.
So I did my 4.5 miles this morning, my 30 minutes of weights, but you don't want to start with that. You can start with very, very simple things. Get out and walk, Go bowling, play baseball, do tennis, things that you enjoy doing. Make minor changes in your diet. Don't eat later in the day. Cut back on some of the portions. You know, diet seems to be something that people feel very strongly about, but the two things that you have to remember about diet and nothing else: total calories and total saturated fat. Too many calories, you're going to make fat. Saturated fat doesn't do much for you. Other than that, I really don't care how you get the calories. There are healthier ways than others, but if you can control the calories and control the saturated fat, you will go a long way to making progress for weight, diabetes, heart disease, certain types of cancers, prostate cancer, breast cancer, you name it.
And when we're talking about a healthy lifestyle, it doesn't mean that you're going to get up and go and compete. It's about longevity. It's about extending your life. It's about enjoying the life that you have without the burdens of being overweight or having those other things, that the shortness of breath, the things that will slow you down so that you can't enjoy being with your children or being out with your family, or, you know, there's a number of things. Having a good night's sleep and things like that. So I got a question, though. When we're talking about the different countries and when you're doing this research, is there one country that it had less of these issues than other countries?
Well, there are several countries that have had less. And China is a very good example, and Japan are good examples. But the reason why China is a good example is that if you look at the children right now, and if you look at American children from kindergarten to 12th grade, a quarter to a third of them have either high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, problems that related to these health-related issues. But if you look at the children in China, their diets have changed the most drastic. China and Spain, and the children in those countries, their rate of heart disease are exceeding our children right now.
Wow.
Just simply because of the dramatic change in the diet and lifestyle that these countries are going through. And so it's very clear this is not a genetic problem. You know, the genes haven't changed in the last 50 to 100 years. We're all somewhat predispositioned. You know, we're the survivors, so our bodies are designed to survive. Now the question is whether we're going to kill ourselves off, you know, in the diets and lifestyle we have. So the kids in China, people in Japan, and you see the children in Spain, they too are noticing these escalations in their heart disease. Too much food, the portion sizes are getting bigger.
And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about was our portion sizes. I mean, the obesity rate in kids in the U.S. is moving up, it seems like, all the time. And that's one of the things that, for Tracy and I, is one of those things that we really want to help, you know, parents understand and be able to address as well. So it's portion sizes, it's that fast food mentality, things like that. And so whether you're in the U.S., whether you're in China, Japan, Spain, we got to take care of our kids. We got to take care of ourselves. And that's the whole point of us doing these fitness segments, is to try to show you ways, not only through scientific research, but also through some of our segments which will show you how to actually exercise and train properly and get involved in other types of sports and athletics. So it's a good thing, and you know, today has been one of those days where we really appreciate having somebody at your level being able to sit in here at the wake-up call.
Brian, I have a question. Can the doctor recommend, do you recommend any herbs or vitamins for, you know...
Natalie's asking about herbs and vitamins as far as controlling high blood pressure.
You know, there's some soft data on different types of natural compounds. You know, one of the things I think that there's an issue is that a lot of people think that physicians are anti-natural or anti-food. And I always explain to people that the foundation of medicine started from what we knew about diet and nutrition, and if somebody's forgotten that, then they've forgotten it. The best studies I'm familiar with are that actually celery and foods like that have chemicals in them that seem to relax the blood vessels and may lower high blood pressure. One of the, as a medical student at Iowa, we did sodium and high blood pressure research with people by giving them very high salt milkshakes and then very low salt milkshakes and seeing what happened to them. Some of that is hereditary, but as far as a food that probably helps more than anything else, celery is probably one of the ones.
There you go.
And then maybe onions, are those good? And like garlic and stuff, right, for cholesterol?
Onions and garlic is the other question.
Yes, in fact, I think actually the studies show that if you had 9 or 10 cloves of garlic in a day, you could actually drop your cholesterol significantly.
And your spouse, if you breathe on it. So,
or you can both have the garlic, and then it doesn't matter. There you go. Right.
All right, thank you.
So there's a couple of questions up here that are asking. One of them is from Tebow. He says, I'm 6'3", 303. Is there really such a thing as an ideal weight? You know, and I'll just give you my opinion on that. If you're 6'3", 303, it's going to depend on a couple of things: how you feel, how you look in the mirror, and how you feel about yourself internally. But more importantly, if you feel like you're overweight and you want to adjust that, let's look at your diet. What kind of foods are you eating? What kind of exercise are you doing? And if you're very active and very fit and you're eating healthy, then maybe 303 isn't a bad weight for you. I'm not sure that there is an ideal weight. It's what's ever going to make you feel comfortable in your own skin. And as far as my opinion, that might be something different from the doctor's perspective, though.
Well, I think my comment on that would be body mass index is something that's a challenge. It's an effort to try to rein in all the people that are worried about their weight compared to their height. But I think it's really a matter of what that weight is due to. If that weight is due to fat, you have a problem. If that weight is due to lean body muscle, that's a different issue. I mean, muscle is not going to produce health problems for you, but the fat, particularly the fat around the belly, produces a lot of this inflammation that causes a lot of these diseases. So depending upon what your weight's due to, muscle or fat, that's the key.
All right. Well, we really appreciate the doctor being here. His books, we can find these on Amazon, correct?
You can find
We can get these books on Amazon, so that's where you need to go. If you have any other questions, Brian at LoadedTV.com, or you can on Twitter at Brian and Tracy. Any questions, we'd be glad to answer those. So thank you guys very much, and we'll be right back with the wake-up call.
Thank you. And I noticed they rushed off the dessert before we got
We're going to get some right now.
Welcome back. You're watching LoadedTV.com. This is the Wake Up Call, and I'm Ken McKim with your Tech Bites update. So, a couple different stories for you today. The first of them is, by now this should just be common sense, right? You don't post about illegal activities that you engage in on social media. It's like the guys that would burglarize a house and then go out and brag about how they burglarized a house, and then someone heard them bragging and turned them in. Well, that's what happened to this kid, Jacob Cox Brown, 18 years old. Thought it was funny that he accidentally hit a parked car while he was drunk driving, and shared it with everybody on Facebook. Idiot. Say it with me. 1, 2, 3. Idiot. There you go. So, of course, one of his so-called friends turned him in and just sent a direct message to one of the police officers at the Astoria Police Department. And they issued a press release. It says, quote, Astoria Police have an active social media presence. It was a private Facebook message to one of our officers that got this case moving, though. When you post on Facebook, you have to figure that it's not going to stay private long. So, good job, Jacob Cox Brown. And let this be a lesson to all of you. Seriously, don't brag about illegal stuff you do on the internet. It's never a good idea. Okay, moving on. Next story is about a new Blu-ray player from Samsung. Now, admittedly, it's very hard to make a Blu-ray player sexy or interesting. At this stage of the game, Blu-ray players are pretty much old hat. This one they're excited about. It's their new flagship Blu-ray player. Ooh, flagship. They're excited because it automatically up-converts a signal to 4K resolution. Well, a few weeks ago when I was still doing the live show at the Bonanza, we had one of our viewers chat in, and we love it when you guys do that. It's a lot of fun when we have people join the chat session and ask questions while we're doing the show. Well, they were asking about 4K resolution and was it worth it? My answer then and my answer now is still no. If for no other reason, then there's not a lot of equipment that's out that's affordable that's going to take advantage of the extra resolution. And you add to that the eye can only discern so many colors and so many pixels before it just kind of goes in. You go cross-eyed, and it's just not worth it. I'm sorry. I think it's technology that's never going to be fully appreciated by more than maybe 3% of the entire population. So I don't get it, but they're excited about it. They're going to be releasing it in this year, 2013. There's no pricing available yet. The only thing that I might say could recommend purchasing this Blu-ray player is that it has a pretty fast processor. It's 900 megahertz. Now, most of the other manufacturers of Blu-ray players don't release their internal specifications. They don't advertise how fast their chips are, but the faster the better, because as those of us who own Blu-ray players know, they are notoriously slow to actually load the movie or load any of the special features. It seems like it takes forever compared to regular DVD. You pop in, boom, the movie starts playing. So anyway, if you're interested, it's the BD F like Frank 7500, and I'll be interesting to see what the pricing is. They do have another feature that they're calling Smart View, which is like a reverse mirroring agent. So it'll send the video from the Blu-ray player to your mobile device. Don't know why you'd want to do that, but if that's important to you, you can get that feature on this new Samsung player. The last story I have for you today is whoever did this has a really good sense of humor, but I think they're going about it the wrong way. There's a picture on Reddit that's been since taken down of a medic alert bracelet with this message on it: delete my browser history. So that's funny and it's kind of cool, but really easier ways to do that. You can just set your settings in Firefox or Chrome to delete your history as soon as you close your browser. There are windows you can open. In Chrome it's called incognito, and in Firefox it's just private browsing, and none of your browsing history will track if you use either of those two browsing modes. So much easier ways to do it. But if you're afraid that you didn't do that before you left the house and you're going to get in an accident later on, not that anyone plans to get in an accident, but if you're really that worried about it, this is a kind of a humorous way to go about it. Delete my browser history. That's great. Not I'm allergic to penicillin or I have a peanut allergy, but no, delete my browser history. Okay. So anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for watching as always. If you have any tech questions for me, please send them to me, ken@LoadedTV.com. You can also follow me on Twitter, and I answer questions there as well, @WakeUpCallTech. So until next time, everyone stay safe, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.
Welcome back.
Yeah, tech segment with Ken, and we apologize for the no interviews. Where could they be? I don't know.
You can interview me.
That's right. So we had, by the way, I do want to say that cake was really, really good, and Dave is going to get that up on the website because
I will get the website.
That's a really
fun
it's
cake.
a fun, and it's it is something you can do and make with different fruit, and it's actually kind of good for you.
And the neat thing is you can make it a day in advance, and it'll still hold up. As a matter of fact, it's even better when it sits overnight in the fridge. It sets
melts
up a little more.
bit.
Yeah.
It looks really good. It was excellent. And we want to thank the doctor for coming in because he was really informative, and I kind of talked his ear off in between when he was off because it's lovely to really talk to an expert. You guys, we bring you experts all the time. Don't forget, Brian and Tracy, if you have any questions for them, you would be paying a lot of money to get expert advice from these guys. So use these resources.
With the doctor.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I love talking to the doctor.
How much you have to pay to go see a doctor and ask his questions when you can just do it here for free? That's
so we always bring you the experts. If it's in fashion or fitness or health, we really try to bring you the best, not anybody. These guys know what they're talking about. That's all I'm saying. All right, we are going to do some events.
We are. Events.
Yes, we are. Sarah if you have any events going on in Fernley, let us know, since you've been blocked 6 times now.
Oh, hey, let's mention one of the biggest names in the business, Jay Leno's here on the 25th.
Yep.
Silver Lakes. You know, and a little interesting inside story there. There's only a handful of dates that he does. There's only a handful of private concerts that he does the entire year, because obviously the Tonight Show takes a lot of his time. But Reno has been, I think he's been doing this for the better part of 15 years. I mean, I remember seeing him way back when. So it's really fun, and he does a really fun show. I don't think he can bring children, but I think you could probably bring a teenager, and that'd be cool because they get to see it. But it's just a really fun show. He's a great comedian, and he deals in great humor, not blue humor, great humor.
So Jay Leno.
Jay Leno, the 25th. I think he's doing 2 shows.
That's at 8 p.m. at the Silver Legacy.
Yep.
The 25th is the Brouhaha.
Right.
Which is this weekend, and that is at John Squagus Nugget. It is one night only. You can get tickets at Sierra Arts Foundation, John Squagus Nugget, or you can go online at sierra-arts.org. At 18th annual, they're going to have live music from Diego's Umbrella, beers from 35 breweries, a dance party, and a VIP brewers reception, raffles, and more. That does benefit the Arts Foundation.
And you got to know that Sierra Arts is so involved with so many programs over the year. Particularly, they run 2 extraordinary programs for handicappable people, both kids and adults. It's a remarkable program, and they've done, over the years, done so much for the community, and they're really arts focused. So, and it's a traditional event. The Brouhaha, you get a glass and you ha-ha all the way around.
I love the ha-ha. Oh, and Stella asked, what's that new show at the El Dorado? I heard it was really good.
Magic.
Yes, it's called Magic, and its opening night was last night, so it's going to keep going. And there's still also Eli Kerr, the magic show, at Harrah's.
Just a few more weeks for him
as well, and there's only a few more weeks left for that one.
Yeah, I have to tell you, the gal who produces the Magic is Ms. Zingjet.
Yeah.
And I actually have had a long relationship with her.
Yeah.
She used to be a great, she's done a lot of shows in this town, and I put her in a call to the El Dorado and said, hey, when's she going to be in town? She doesn't live here, but when she's in town, I'd like to get her on. I'd like to talk to her.
I actually just saw her last week.
Probably for the run-through.
Yeah, so I put my audition tape in for her, and and then I know she was in Carson.
Well, she used to be, she was at one time.
She was with Greg Thompson.
She was married to Greg at one time.
Oh, really?
And then Sonny came along, and but she's been still very instrumental in a lot of his great
choreography
productions.
choreographer of the year.
She's one of the great choreographers.
And she is an amazing personality. Let me tell you.
Fun lady.
Also our friends over at Bruca Theater are doing a play called The Goat, or Who is Sylvia, by Edward Albee. Edward Albee, you guys, is such a great playwright.
American playwright.
You would really love this play. It really is something that I think anyone can see. It is going to be running through February 9th. They do have some matinees this weekend, January 27th at 2 p.m. That's their only matinee, guys. Tickets are only $16, and I think that's great. So go over to Bruca.
One of them is called The Goat.
No, it's called The Goat, or Who is Sylvia.
Okay, well, if you guys tune in tomorrow, I'll tell you a funny story about a donkey. So.
Okay. Awesome.
So Sweet Honey says Rascal Flatts and the band Perry pre-sale tickets are going on now.
Okay.
I love country music. Yes. And Blog TV says, very interesting show again. Thank you so much, Blog TV.
Greg Allman is going to be, I think it was, maybe he was already Saturday.
I think he was here last weekend. Yeah.
All right, well, I'm behind.
He was up the lake last weekend.
I love him. I wish I could have seen him. Oh, Jay Leno, we already got that. Styx, February 1st. Yeah. Woohoo! That's at Silver Legacy.
Do you know a little bit of trivia about Styx?
I love
They were the first band to have 4 consecutive platinum albums.
Wow.
Which is, like, in the record industry, is huge. So
right.
That's a little bit of trivia
now they have more of those now, but they were some of the first.
They were the early guys.
Awesome. All right.
All right, Adam, you have to tune in tomorrow morning, and I'll tell you all about that story.
The donkey story?
From 9 to 10 a.m.
Yes.
Pacific Standard Time from Reno, Nevada.
And we will tell you this, that no animals have ever been hurt on this show. Ever.
That we know of.
No
animals have ever been hurt on
I'm sure that donkey was, like,
all right, I have one more, because this is free, you guys. This is awesome. Okay. So January 24th and 25th, they're doing the Reno Media Group Comedy Festival. Now, this is going to be at Baldini's, and the tickets are free. You get 2 tickets per person. They are on a first-come, first-served basis. So it's going to be at Baldini's, and it's going to be Kay Lewis with Alvin Williams and Melissa Shoshanhi, I can't say it. It's going to be 8 o'clock, the 24th and 25th. She's performed on BET's One Mic Stand, and I think for free. Hello.
Funny.
Yeah, that's the 24th again. Reno Media Group Comedy Festival at Baldini's. You know, Gary says he wants another hour of the show. Gary, if you can help us get enough commercials to fill this hour, you got it, buddy. So all you guys, if you guys are interested in advertising with us, just email info@loadedtv.com and we can work that out for you. So you guys like Tiesto? March 7th here in Reno. Reno Fur Party on 4/20, that's April 20th.
Yeah, a lot of people go to that. It's a big deal, the fur party.
We gotta wrap it up.
All right, my gosh. All right, we're going to keep you updated. If you have an event that you'd like us to... if you'd like an event that to be said on here on LoadedTV.com, we would love to. You can just email us, info@LoadedTV.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, and if you'd like to advertise, please, again, that same email, info@LoadedTV.com.
And you guys, check out LoadedTV.com. There's a thing up there. You click on it, you scroll down, you can pick all of our names and check out our pages, check out our YouTube.
And there's a lot on there to see,
Check out our Facebooks and our Twitter.
I'm going to have a craft tomorrow.
And one of these days, I will do the Macarena.
I hate it.
All right,
I used to have
we're
to do
going
the
to go out and
Macarena
do the Macarena, okay? You guys ready? Wait, you can start like this. Macarena, something.
I refuse.
Macarena, shake.
I used to have to do the Macarena.
I love Macarena.
All right.
Or the chicken dance, whatever you want to do.